kid, so to speak. It's actually her younger sister that joined the Wolfpack first, and then she joined while she was a young undergrad at FAU. Now Yasmin is a junior at the University of Florida, working actually in a debris sat lab and working with aerospace professionals. And then I'll let her pick it up from there. Our next presenter is going to share about an in-depth analysis of psychological factors related to the success of CubeSat teams. Welcome, Yasmin.
Hi, everyone. As Mr. Simmons just said, I'm a student at the University of Florida, and I'm currently studying psychology and minoring in business. So I kind of started off at FAU, got involved in aerospace, but I'm really interested in looking at it from the psychological perspective. A little bit about the Wolfpack. I know Kevin's group just went over that last presentation, so I'll make this quick. It's a lot of, it's students between ages 11 to 20, myself, and we design, build, test, and fly CubeSats and explore other aerospace research topics. So we do everything from designing the CubeSats, seeing it through till testing, integration, launch, but we also attend conferences, do presentations, advocacy at the state and national level, through Florida's Space Day and congressional visits. And the team also does debates. And we've also participated in a lot of entrepreneurial events like the ISS Sustainability Challenge, NASA iTech, and the Edison Awards. Last year we also did the Global Sustainability Space Challenge, where we submitted the WolfSat-1 proposal and we made it to the semifinal round. So that's a little bit, the Wolfpack is more than just flying CubeSats. We do all of the presentations and things as well. In 2015, the team was formed at the Weiss School in West Palm Beach, and they proposed the WISAT-1 to the CubeSat launch initiative, and then shortly thereafter they proposed CapSat-1, which launched in 2022, and then in 2020 the Wolfpack kind of moved online. It was formed in response to COVID shutdowns of schools, and then we branched out to help teams in Nebraska and North Carolina start some of their first CubeSats as well. In 2021, the Wolfpack kind of expanded past just the Weiss School and the Palm Beach area. And as Mr. Simmons said, that's where my sister kind of started. She started over the summer at one of the summer camps that he was offering. And that year we submitted 3 proposals to the CubeSat launch initiative. I joined in early 2022, and I've been working on the WolfSat-1 payload and proposal, which was selected by Firefly a few weeks ago. And we also submitted the WolfSat-1 to the NASA CSLI this year as well. One of the main foundations of the team is the blue sky learning philosophy, and one of the aspects of that is the techies and the talkies. So what that means is Mr. Simmons, he teaches a lot of the students a lot of the content. So the engineering, the CubeSat, technical stuff, and then Ms. Christensen kind of works on it with students on communication, being able to write papers well, be able to present well, and things like that. And the goal there is to create a well-rounded engineer. You want someone who's able to articulate themselves well and deliver their content, essentially share what they know about the engineering things that they're excited about and things like that. And this really helps with the development of human capital. It helps students become part of that next generation, expanding the STEM pipeline and things like that, and it gets students engaged with science and engineering, but also real-world application communication that'll help them in their professional career. The Blue Sky Learning philosophy was created by Mr. Simmons, and it uses the growth mindset to achieve goals. And a big part of that is patience, persistence, and a positive approach to failure. And what we mean by that is if a been working on, say, writing an abstract for a conference that they really want to go to, or a couple of conferences they want to go to. Maybe they selected a couple, and they get selected for some, and they don't for others. We say, if they didn't get selected for that conference, it's not a failure. It's a stepping stone for the future, for a newer growth opportunity. So it's something not to be seen as failure, but a way to look at it in terms of growth. And a lot of the Blue Sky learning philosophy is also based in project-based learning and leadership and mentorship. So the way that kind of works is, for example, myself as an older student, I work with a lot of the younger students, teaching them all the things that I can, so that by the time that they're my age or a little younger or whatever, they'll be able to do the same for the next generation of younger students on the Wolfpack to kind of keep that cycle going as well. And this led to the Aerospace and Innovation Academy, which was co-founded by Mr. Sin and Ms. Christensen. So now, the Blue Sky learning philosophy actually ties into a lot of things that I learn as a psychology student within my major, within a lot of my classes. It comes up, and one way that this kind of comes up is Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. So, in this theory, there's 7 to 8 types of intelligences, and not every person, no person has all of the 8 types of intelligences. We're fairly good at 2 to 3, and we have decent skills at the rest. But the idea is that if there's a whole bunch of us in a room, everyone will have their different strengths, and when put together on that team, everyone will learn from each other, strengthen the skills that they're weakest on, and then share their strengths with others on the skills that they're really good at, but others are weaker in. So this allows us to kind of also match students in that way. So some students may be better with mathematical types of intelligences or linguistic, and in that sense, we can pair someone who's more into the engineering aspect of things with a student who's better at writing and communication to kind of create that team where they can then come up with an idea and paper and all of that together. With these types of intelligences as well, I've chosen to look at it from a personality aspect as well, which is where the Myers-Briggs type indicator comes in. And it's a personality test that's made up of 16 unique personality types. And it's derived from the work of Carl Jung. And the 4 dimensions of this test are introversion versus extroversion, intuitive versus sensing, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus perceiving. And if you look at this graph, each different square is a different combination of those 4 types, personality types. So the I would then be an introversion in the first letter, E would be extroversion, so on. And so this, even though like if you go online and you take one of the personality traits and it says your whatever personality trait, it's more so that that's your strength of a personality trait. Everybody has a scale of each type of trait, but that's just what's the most chronic in that sense. So with that being said, we can use a student's personality trait, the things that they're best in, the best form of themselves to essentially create the best team and allow each student to take on a role in the team that best suits them, a role that they're most comfortable with, and something where they feel like they will succeed. Because a lot of the times if a student isn't necessarily comfortable with writing a big paper, they're better at the math, they're gonna feel stuck when they're tasked with writing a paper, so that's why we pair students in that way, so that they can all learn off of each other. And with all of that being said, it's what's helped the Wolfpack become really successful. worked on a lot of outreach efforts. We're working towards getting more young students involved to expand the STEM pipeline, as I said earlier. And part of that is we've written and published 2 children's books at this point. The first one is the ISS and Vertical Landings, and then the second one actually was just published recently, and that's Artemis and SLS. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, we also work on a lot of advocacy efforts through Florida Space Day, and we've worked on getting appropriations for students, technical training programs, things like that, to expand our outreach into the community and get more students enrolled. Here you can kind of see the past couple of years, just a handful of the conferences we've been to. At this point, I mean, with Wolfpack, we've probably written 100 papers or so and submitted to a whole bunch of conferences. So this is just a few, but we've been to IAC, Small Sat in Logan, Utah, CoSpar, obviously SciTech. We've done the Edison Awards and things like that, and that's because students are willing to work together, write papers, learn from each other, and things like that. And here we can kind of see a graphic as well of back when the team was fairly new. We started with a couple of conferences, and we've only grown. We've done increased exponentially in terms of the conferences and papers that we've presented because of all of this, students wanting to be engaged. And yeah, thank you guys for coming to the presentation. And I just wanted to thank Mr. Simmons and Ms. C for everything they do to help students.